campaign trail following a high-stakes news conference. Biden and his team continue their relentless sprint to persuade lawmakers, donors, and voters he is up for another 4 years. The president's rally in Michigan tonight is part of a trio of blue wall states that his campaign and Republicans remain focused on.
We have a feeding frenzy going on here. The media and politicians, Democrats and certainly Republicans, are standing on the sidelines cheering all this on.
The stage is set in Milwaukee ahead of the 2024 Republican National Convention. The four-day event will wrap up with the party officially naming Donald Trump the Republican presidential candidate. Delegates will approve a platform which will include stances on key topics, including abortion.
The Republican Party is again, it's a pro-life party, but there are a lot of different views by individual candidates and individuals within that party, and that's what's going to be important to the election.
Operations have begun in the trial of U.S. Senator Bob Menendez. The New Jersey Democrat is accused of taking bribes and acting as a foreign agent. Federal prosecutors say Menendez accepted gifts in exchange for a variety of corrupt acts. Menendez denies any wrongdoing. Those are your headlines. Now, here's your weather on the ones.
Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Santos. Friday morning is going to start off warm in 60s, but here's where it is warm, even hot. 90 degrees to start off in Las Vegas, and then temperatures there in the southwest getting into the triple digits again. Temperatures coming down just a little bit, but still warm here in the northeast with temperatures in the 80s. Mid-Atlantic states get ready for some scattered thunderstorms as we go throughout the day Friday, and this is going to be coming basically going all the way up into the northeast.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Tazwell. President Biden's campaign in full swing as he works to prove to colleagues, donors, and voters that he is up for the job. Biden is set to hold a campaign rally in Michigan tonight, a key state the White House considers crucial to winning the 2024 election. And that's not all for the president. As Spectrum's Evan Kozloff reports from Washington, the president will hold virtual meetings with groups of Democratic lawmakers Friday and Saturday in an attempt to shore up support.
I've got to finish this job because there's so much at stake.
President Joe Biden's high-stakes news conference Thursday night, not enough to stop the calls from Democrats in Congress for him to end his candidacy. Colorado Democrat Brittany Peterson adding her name to the list on Friday, writing, "Please pass the torch to one of our many capable Democratic leaders so we have the best chance to defeat Donald Trump."
The stakes are so high.
This after Biden's press conference that it was time for a new leader atop the party's ticket this fall.
You're not just gambling your own political reputation. You are gambling the future of the United States of America.
Biden's efforts to convince Democrats that he should still be the nominee continued on Friday when he met with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. President Biden will be taking his message to voters as well in the swing state of Michigan Friday night at an event in Detroit. His campaign said he would focus on tying his Republican opponent, former President Donald Trump, to Project 2025, a more than 900-page playbook for a Trump second term drafted by the ultra-conservative Heritage Foundation. Some of the more controversial provisions include using the military to deport millions of undocumented immigrants, rolling back protections for LGBTQ Americans, and replacing 50,000 civil servants with workers who are loyal to the president. Trump has tried to distance himself from the platform, claiming on social media 25, even though he's appeared before the Heritage Foundation before, and scores of his allies worked on the project, including former advisors, ambassadors, and even cabinet secretaries from his past administration.
We're also now seeing uneasiness from donors. The New York Times reporting that roughly $90 million in pledged money has now been put on hold if Biden is on top of the ticket. In Washington, the Evan Kozloff, Spectrum News.
Final preparations are underway in Milwaukee ahead of the Republican National Convention kicking off Monday night. It's where former President Donald Trump will formally receive the Republican Party's nomination for the White House and where we will hear from his running mate. Spectrum's Taylor Populares is following it all and joins us from the convention site in Milwaukee.
We're here at our Spectrum newsroom in Milwaukee, just across the street from where the Republican National Convention will be taking place next week. More than 50,000 people from across the country are expected to come here for. Donald Trump tried to stoke speculation about his vice presidential running mate.
Like I watched Tim Scott on television yesterday. He was fierce and great. He was great. I watched Marco over the weekend on television. He was incredible. JD's been great. You have a man named Burgum, who's a fantastic governor in North Dakota.
Trump spotlighting Senator Scott of South Carolina, Rubio of Florida, and Vance from Ohio, along with North Dakota Governor Burgum as his finalists for VP. The former president held a campaign rally in Florida on Tuesday as he thinks over his options, and we were there for it and spoke with Trump supporters to learn why they are supporting him.
Trump gave me pride in my country. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I come from the urban streets. I could have cared less about America first and yeah, this is our country and the national anthem. It made me have pride in where I live at.
4 years he was president, the country was thriving. These 4 years we're going backwards.
He's stern, he's decisive, and he puts America first.
Taylor Popolars joins us from outside the convention center in Milwaukee. Taylor, when can we expect Trump to announce his running mates, and what's next for the former president's campaign?
Well, to answer the latter half of your question, Sharon, Trump is heading to Pennsylvania on Saturday, another key battleground state, to hold a campaign rally. We were at his earlier rally this week down in Florida, and those are pretty much the two public events he's holding before the convention after the debate. That was a couple weeks ago at this point. He kind of went away from the cameras for 11 days in between then. In terms of his VP search, Trump indicated in that radio show that he'll probably make the announcement by Monday, but this is very fluid, and many Trump advisors tell us that it'll ultimately be up to him, and he off be later.
Right, and Taylor, Republican delegates are expected to vote and approve a new platform that will include stances on key topics, including abortion. What can you tell us about that?
So this platform is interesting in that some conservatives are frustrated with it and arguing it's not conservative enough. People like Trump's own former vice president, Mike Pence, are really upset with the fact that there's not a national abortion ban included in the provisions. It defers to what Trump has been campaigning on, which is leave it up to each state to decide. That's a move by the Trump campaign to try to win over especially suburban voters who were frustrated when the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. We've seen many states vote to protect abortion rights, but there's some kind of frustration there from Republicans. The platform also has a lot of Trumpian undertones, making America safe again, making America wealthy once again, all spinning off of the Make America Great Again campaign slogan that of the Trump campaign. So we're learning more details every single day about who will be speaking and what each night will look like, and we'll be covering it all both here at our station and literally behind me in the Fiserv Forum here in Milwaukee.
All right, Taylor Popolars in Milwaukee. Thanks. And join us next week for special coverage from our political team covering the RNC. Tune in every night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Spectrum News.
Awesome.
Cognitive testing remains one of the most talked about topics this election year, but what exactly is it? And should we all have it? Experts are weighing in just ahead on Spectrum News.
Spectrum News Plus, news from a new perspective, dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering with balanced reporting, providing real context and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day.
Here's a look at your forecast across the country.
Local stories, connecting communities. We are Spectrum News Plus, streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
At Spectrum, we know that internet is a vital tool to help you fulfill your dreams.
My dream is to become a video game developer.
My dream is to get my online college degree. That's why Spectrum has affordable solutions to keep you connected. At Spectrum, we are committed to delivering reliable, affordable internet and unlimited mobile to keep you connected to what matters most to you.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. And having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move.
So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Thunderstorms throughout the mid-Atlantic states. Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Santos. That is generally the forecast for us on Friday. You can see here there is a disturbance off the coast here, the southeast, and this is expected to bring some disorganized, scattered thunderstorms basically all across the Carolinas as we go throughout the day on Friday, all the way into the late afternoon into the evening hours. Then evening into Saturday morning, we'll see some of that even moving into the New England states. So these are going to be scattered thunderstorms as we go throughout Saturday as well. We're going to see some of these pop-up thunderstorms coming across the Great Lakes down into the Ohio Valley into early Sunday morning. Now, when we look at the risk for severe weather, it's marginal. It's going to be right around the Dakotas, but look at the rest of the country. All is going to be good for Friday. Now, here's the next 3 days here for Bangor, Maine. We've got rain in the forecast Friday, Saturday, drier for you on Sunday with some sunshine, but you notice it's going to be warm. Carolina, you've got a heat up coming. So enjoy the showers that we do have on Friday for you. Cloudy conditions at 87, and then partly sunny conditions, mostly sunny on Sunday, with those temperatures getting up into the mid-90s. In Charleston, South Carolina, this is where we'll see those thunderstorms on Friday. It starts to ease up a little bit more on Saturday, but notice the temperatures warming up here as well for the weekend, low 90s. And it's already been a warm one, but add this moisture coming up too from the southeast, and it's going to be feeling extra muggy there. Now, 3-day forecast for Houston. You've got thunderstorms in the forecast for Friday and Saturday, and also a little bit of a warm-up come Sunday. Drier conditions with temperatures there in the 90s. So it'll be a warm and muggy continued forecast basically for the weekend. All right, the Climate Prediction Center's precipitation outlook here for July 18th through the 24th. You can see the areas in green is where we're expecting a wetter than average outlook. The darker the green, the higher towards the west, where it expects to be drier than average.
If you're just joining us, here's what you need to know. President Biden back on the campaign trail to prove he can commit to another 4 years in office. Biden is set to hold a campaign rally in Michigan tonight, a key state the White House considers crucial to winning the 2024 election. According to the New York Times, some Democratic donors have told the largest pro-Biden super PAC to freeze about $90 million worth of donations. Final preparations are underway in Wisconsin as the countdown continues to the Republican National Convention starting Monday. Donald Trump will formally receive the Republican Party's nomination, and we will hear from his running mates. That's what we need to know this evening. Well, there's been a lot of talk about the mental fitness of President Biden, and rival Donald Trump is under the microscope. But what exactly goes into a cognitive test, and who should get one? Well, Spectrum News anchor Carla Redditt dives into those questions and joins us with more.
Most people generally have a good idea of their overall health, but when it comes to brain health, many of us are likely in the dark.
We know our heart, we know our blood pressure, we know our kidney function, we know our thyroid. Nobody knows how their brain is functioning at a time in life when they're functioning fine.
And often by the time we notice something is wrong, it's already too late.
These brain diseases that we're talking about with aging, they creep up on you.
Anyone experiencing memory loss or cognitive impairment should seek neuropsychological testing. And Weintraub says when you turn 55, you should probably get a baseline evaluation of your cognitive abilities before symptoms arise. And there are multiple cognitive assessments.
As what year is it? To 8-hour batteries and everything in between.
Those assessments.
Ready to do some testing today?
Use simple tasks to test both verbal and visual memory.
In someone with dementia, they may be able to learn the words, but when you come back half an hour later, they really can't remember almost any of them. And that's when we know something is abnormal.
Most importantly, experts say do not ignore possible symptoms and don't wait.
Don't just think it's normal aging. It might be, let the doctor tell you that, get in, get evaluated.
Carla Reddit, Spectrum News.
In a huge data breach, AT&T says criminals successfully stole 6 months of call and text message records of nearly every customer. It's a breach with the potential to impact sensitive information about millions of Americans. AT&T says the content of the calls and messages was not compromised, but hackers did get phone numbers. Well, we wanted to know what AT&T customers should do now. So joining me is cybersecurity expert Michael Schwartz. Michael, thanks so much for joining us. What are the implications of this major breach?
Well, it's difficult to say. I mean, we really don't know what the data set is. However, as you mentioned, according to AT&T, right, their call records, they were released for a very specific point in time. This, in my experience, is generally only data sets are available to law enforcement via subpoena, and it was troubling that this data was available and not encrypted. However, we do know, as AT&T has stated, it's not been publicly available, but in due time, that could be.
All right, so Michael, why are these large-scale hacks happening more often?
It's, criminals know that there's value in data. So they either are going to steal data and sell it to the highest bidder, or they're going to deploy ransomware to an organization and extort them for money. So prior to all this occurring, hackers had to go through various other means to make money. And then recently, multi-million-dollar settlements, payments have occurred because of this activity that we see here.
All right, so what should we be looking for after this breach, and how can we protect our data for the future?
This is tough, especially. I mean, what everyone should be aware of is there is increasing amounts of scams that are being conducted via text messaging. The post office is not going to text you to tell you that you have a package that's available. Your student loans are not going to be forgiven via text message as well. So it's keeping just that paranoia level high. That data is out there, especially in lieu of this patterns of life can be exploited. So where you order pizza from, et cetera, who you have conversations with, that could come out as well. So it's just raising that paranoia level to hey, I'm not going to accept this random text message that comes in from various different places. Yeah, and keeping yourself safe. One big thing you can do is actually lock or freeze your credit reports with major credit bureaus. That goes a long way.
Yeah, good advice there. Cybersecurity expert Michael Schwartz, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Tackling the hardships, how 2 former college football players are helping others kick off their best life after the thrill of the Friday Night Lights. That's coming up on Spectrum News.
Election year, people need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we're bringing together our team of local political journalists from across the country to break down what's happening. So join us every week to catch up on the key stories making a big difference across the nation and in your local community.
Watch The Big Deal with Errol Lewis Friday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Spectrum News Plus. Available on all of your favorite devices exclusively on Spectrum.
One, two, three. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Well, we do have some alerts out east related to flooding concerns. You can see it right here in the green. Hi there, meteorologist Robert Santos. This will be part of some of those thunderstorms that will be moving up the mid-Atlantic all the way up into the northeast as we go over the next couple of days. In the meantime, out west, this is where we still have a number of states under some heat-related advisories, even some fire weather watches. The temperatures, yes, have been scorching all week with some improvement now for the Pacific Northwest. It's been coming down little by little the last few days. Instead of triple digits now 80s for Seattle and Portland, but still look at all the triple digits in Vegas and Bakersfield, Sacramento, all the way up into Boise and out towards Salt Lake City. And it's going to be mainly the dry heat, but where we have going to be down in Texas. Look at 93 in Austin, 86 in Houston. Will feel more like mid to upper 90s there. And that's in a place where many people still do not have power and cannot run their AC in the wake of Beryl earlier this week. And then down in Florida, 94 for Orlando, 91 Tampa, but you add in the humidity, and once again, we're feeling like it's going to be like it's in the triple digits basically there. So it can be dangerous if you're not taking the precautions for you. So ridge of high pressure out east, ridge of high pressure out west. This is what's been keeping Southern California pretty hot as well. But some improvement. It starts to get nudged to the east just a little bit as we go into the weekend. So that's going to, along with some monsoonal moisture now in a position to come up our way into Southern California, that's going to help to drop those temperatures several degrees. So instead of widespread triple digits, we'll be back down into the 90s. But here's Friday for you. You could see above average by 11 to 14 degrees still in the south. 7 degrees above average, Columbus and Boston, where temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s there, 90s for many in the southern tier. So 98 in Vegas, for instance, New Orleans right around 90 degrees, and Atlanta right around 95 degrees. Okay, over the next 7, Las Vegas, temperatures do start to drop, but notice they'll stay above average. The average this time of year is 105. So if you're heading out that way, it's that time of year when it does heat up, and it's been hotter than average. Portland, Oregon, 81 is the average, and we'll get some 90s there for Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be about 10 degrees above average over the weekend. If you're traveling out to Louisville, Kentucky, 89 degrees is the average. The warmest day will be on Monday, upper 90s.
In a stunning move Friday, the judge overseeing actor Alec Baldwin's involuntary manslaughter. The ruling came after Baldwin's attorney filed a motion to dismiss, arguing misconduct by state investigators for not properly disclosing evidence. In delivering her ruling, the judge said there is no way for the court to right the wrong. Baldwin was charged following the fatal shooting of a cinematographer while filming on the movie set of Rust. The weapons handler who handed the gun to Baldwin is currently serving an 18-month sentence for involuntary manslaughter. Adjustment to life beyond the Friday night lights can be difficult for some athletes. Spectrum's Katie Capuzzo shares how 2 former college football players are helping others find fulfillment after sports.
I'm not a QB. Ready? Go.
Well, Jonte Holden might not have played QB in college, but he was a corner.
Let me see your lineup in a press man technique. Go ahead. Where's the ball at? Over there?
And while he's been out of college for 6 years, he still loves giving back to kids and sharing the joy of when he finished playing college ball. It was tough to grapple with what was next.
The idea for Life After Sports came after sports, obviously, when, our football careers were ending. They both ended differently, but, ultimately not at the pinnacle of where we'd like to, have reached.
Holden and his former teammate at Southern Connecticut State University, Duke Pierre, came together to create Life After Sports, a nonprofit foundation focusing on mental health, professional development, financial literacy, and physical health to prepare for life after being an athlete.
Life After Sports kind of, I wouldn't say I found it, it more of found me. I started realizing very early on, even going back to thinking about high school, that my future was more than being an athlete.
For both Holden and Pierre, the transition after football wasn't
Crisis where I felt lost.
Which is why they started Life After Sports. The hope is to connect with high school athletes in all sports to prepare them in getting a job and being set up with financial success, especially with the way NIL has changed college sports.
There's a lot of adjusting that goes on, and so I think that helping athletes kind of work through that at all stages of their career is something that we strive to do.
While the two former teammates look back fondly on their time as college athletes, they know the work they're doing now is something that will make the world after sports a much less intimidating place.
I think if I had something like Life After Sports, I think it would start clicking for me faster to understand that I need to start planning, doing my resume, started getting training, starting looking into the fields that I would want to get into.
I'd be like, somewhere with a lot higher net worth than I have now.
For Spectrum News, I'm Katie Capusta.
Thanks for joining us. Your Spectrum News in 90 is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
At Spectrum News, we're committed to strengthening the fabric of local communities through our reporting, with stories that inspire and news that matters. Streaming live on your smart TV and connected devices, plus on-demand weather forecasts. It's all there as you step outside with the informed and in the know throughout your day. Spectrum News Plus, local stories, connecting communities. Exclusively for Spectrum customers. Now available on your favorite devices.
At Spectrum, our workforce of over 100,000 employees are all located right here in the U.S. You can find them in our stores, in the field, and in our call centers with 100% U.S.-based customer service. Our team works hard to provide the towns, cities, and neighborhoods they live in with the reliable services that everyone counts on, making us one of America's most trusted companies. We're Spectrum, creating jobs and opportunities across the country, and proud to be 100% U.S.-based.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.